and they give you model sheets of what the characters look like, kind of like what I showed you there. And as a storyboard artist, they want to see you put these characters to scale. They also give you layouts of what the backgrounds look like, and tell the story. And it's a very arduous process because basically you want to show your best foot forward. And as a professional animator in particular, you need to be like just silly skilled, because you not only need to be able to draw well, draw on model, but you need to draw in different styles. Because, like for example, I took a pencil test for Family Guy before it was out.
Aww.
And of course it bombed initially, so and of course now it's a huge hit. And I didn't get accepted, but I remember drawing Peter and all of that before I even knew what these characters were. And really, an animated show needs to look like it was drawn by one hand, right? It can't look like 50 styles happening, so it's got to look like one hand. So all the artists need to be able to make their hand like that one hand, and do it in a test where you know there's 100 other people submitting too, so you want to get it in quick enough. And of course, ultimately, I think most of the time it goes to somebody's friend in the sports industry anyway. But I did that for about a year. Submitted everywhere, was doing pencil tests after pencil tests, of course for no money. And I finally got a job at Sony Animation, and I worked on a show called Starship Troopers. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm animating now. And there was even talk of like health insurance and cool fairy tale things like that.
Whoa.
So I'm like, shit, I've made it, my work has paid off. And of course I got in there, and after about 2 months of drawing on Post-it notes, I realized I fucking hate this. I don't like it. There were people that it really did, but I don't think I could articulate it at the time, but I want to do my own stories. I'm a storyteller, and now I feel very happy that I'm kind of able to do that in whatever measure of success I have. But sitting there and drawing on Post-it notes, and there's this whole process things went through where it's like your first pass of something was automatically rejected because that's when the producers would come in. Instead of giving you notes in advance, they'd make you do this, and you realize it didn't matter what you submitted. It was just part of the thing. So all the animators didn't try on their first pass. And I was just like, what a waste of frickin' time. Like, I'm not interested in not putting anything into it just because I know that's the way it is. And so ultimately, I worked there for almost 2 years. I drew for a couple of different shows they had going on, and which is kind of the nature of film or television. When a show ends, they lay people off or put them on hiatus. And I remember everyone was kind of like freaking out, like, don't lay me off. They were trying to figure out how they could somehow weasel their way into the next show. And I was just like, lay me off. I'll collect my unemployment. And there, during that time, because I was so frustrated by my experience in animation and what I thought and I wanted to do as an artist, I said, I need to do something different. I'm going to try music. Even though I had done it earlier as a kid, and that is what gave seeds to Repo. So, I don't know. Could I have planned it that way? Would Repo have come about if I wasn't sort of disgruntled in that way? I don't know. But now here I am post Repo, and I'm going back to drawing. So, yeah. Any other questions?
With the comic being done, was it, did you shop out printers yourself to actually get it produced, and then how'd that process go? And then also with distribution, are you doing it all yourself, or are you looking for any sort of national distribution? Obviously, what's the process going to be for that?
Well, the first thing is, yes, I did check out printers, and I've having never done anything quite like this, and I know you with your magazine I probably should have reached out to you and said, can you help me with this? But no, yeah, I shopped around and discovered what there's the creation, which is the hardest part really, and ultimately the most fulfilling. But that's only half the job. The other job is really managing what you're doing, and in this case, financing, printing, negotiating, reaching out to press.
I ask because I constantly have to shop printers for the best deals.
Yeah, well, I found a place that was really great. based on what I was doing. And I've negotiated a bulk deal. I said, look, I'm printing 12 issues. And I want to keep coming back to you. Tell me what you can offer.
Right.
But even more than that, like the first issue, I finished it, and I was all feeling great about it. It's drawn, it was off the print. The other artists were all stoked. And they typically, when you print something, especially something of this scope, you want to get approved. I don't want to print 2,500 copies to find out like the pages are out of order. Just something as simple as that.
Oh goodness.
But even more importantly, the colors. You know, a lot of time is spent on it. And I got back a proof that was so shitty. So shitty, such like a blow. The colorist goes, ooh, that's not what I signed on to do. Take my name off it.
Oh wow.
So now the good news is, the reality is that was just part of the process. They send you a proof, and they probably don't even look at it. They just hit print, and they're hoping that it goes, so they don't have to do any extra work. And then they send that order to this big machine. It's offset printing. And there's different printing processes which I've had to learn about. So now what I've learned is I make a proof in advance and mail it to them. It's time consuming. I waste a lot of ink, but
It's worth it.
it's so important. Like, why do all this work and have the finished product not look like what you did? But anyway, so they ended up fixing it. It was back and forth. It added like another 2 weeks to my turnaround time. It probably gave me a few gray hairs because I really was suddenly thinking like, maybe I can't release this as a hard copy. Maybe I just need to be relegated to release it online. I really didn't want to. I really liked the idea of a book and designed it that way. But, you know, the images online with the illuminated light from the laptop, they look great. They're perfect, you know. So yes, I've dealt with the printing. In terms of distribution, I'm really kind of figuring it out, but this is my thought and this is my model. I'm in a great position because of Repo. There are people that are interested in what I'm doing as an artist, and that's something I didn't have 2 years ago, and something I know a lot of artists would kill for. So I'm immensely thankful to all the fans of Repo.